Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. My name's Tim and I'm from the TechBytes blogazine, and with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website.
It's Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his creeper bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge.
Right, hello and welcome to TechBytes episode 47, and it's Saturday the 21st of May. It's myself and Roy here today, and we'll get straight into the show. So, Roy, hopefully you've got the first topic for us. Over to you.
Right, so Unity was the subject of about 3 shows ago. We spoke to Jonah Bacon. Both of us had an interview with Jonah, I think on episode 44, maybe 43. And one of the issues we covered was Unity. One of the interesting, or one of the most prominent changes in the new release of Ubuntu was in fact the introduction of a new user interface. And this has been quite an important topic in just about any Linux blog, not just the Ubuntu blog, because it had lots of effects on other distributions. And recently, quite a lot of people were complaining about it, and I'm hoping on this show, I know that you've been doing a bit of a review of this, and your wife was in fact using that as well, using Unity for a while. So I was hoping we'd first start with the news about Canonical trying to create what they call a kind of a, I think it's called a power users community or a power users mailing list or something like that. They do try to address the fact that people who have in fact used Ubuntu for quite a while and are accustomed to doing their task in a certain, say, more complicated way are having a hard time with Unity. And that's pretty important news, assuming that we are focusing on users of the most used distribution. I believe that's Ubuntu. One of the closest rivals in terms of usage, I believe, is Fedora. And Fedora is getting a new release coming very soon. That's Fedora 15, and that's the only other major bit of news, except for the new kernel, which is kind of a routine news. Every 3 months or 4 months. I think it's about 3 months. There is a release of the kernels, and 2.6.39 has just come out, and the same version that's Libre has been released by the FSF. I think it's Latin America something. People like Alexandra Oliva.
I saw a brief note about the power user forum or whatever that's going to be. I haven't actually looked into that, to be fair. As you know, I've been using Unity now for about 3 days, I believe it was, when I accidentally hosed my system by partitioning whilst very, very tired. So I thought, no better time to have a little look and see. And I was amazed, really, because there's been a lot of fuss about Unity and this is a wrong direction for Canonical, I don't like it, all these sort of doom and gloom that's been going around the internet. There's not really much to be upset about. Like I said, I've had it now for 3 days, and one of the things that struck me as quite impressive was the fact that when my wife came up to do her weekly shopping, she didn't realise I had a new system installed, and she literally sat down on it and was functional immediately, which is always a good sign to me, because one of the things that I do when I deploy Linux to other users, I want to be confident that they're going to be able to sit down without me sitting over their shoulder and just be able to use the machine. Sure, there might be a few teething issues and they might have a few questions, how do I do X, Y, and Z? But as a rule, they can sit down and just immediately be functional, roughly how they used to operating in the past. So the fact that the wife could actually just jump on and use this machine was a good sign. Now, originally, I had the reservations, and I think with any new way of working or very different way of working, you're always going to be met with a little bit of trepidation, and I certainly had quite a minimalist desktop prior to using 1104. But after a couple of days of getting used to it, there are a couple of issues that I'm not particularly comfortable with. That still represent a very, very different way of working for me. But as as a rule, generally, I think it's it's very good direction for Canonical to go, and I can't really see why people are making such a fuss, especially when you've got the option to refer back to your classic GNOME desktop if you wish. So, yes, I've had a nice time with it. It's certainly staying on my machine now. I'll probably keep it on for a good few months. So I don't have any idea to go back to Sabian at the moment. So I'll keep it on. I'm very happy with it. It's I've come across no problems. Admittedly, I haven't got into Compiz and its all of its features. Apparently, there's been quite a few reports on the net of issues with Compiz, so I can't really comment on that. But certainly for the effects that I've been using and the ones that I want on my desktop, I've had no issues, and the thing's been rock solid stable. I've had no crashes, no hangs, or anything like that over the last 3 days. So I'll keep plugging on with it and see how it goes. I don't know. Have you had a chance to have a read or have a look at it?
I've been trying. Well, I've watched videos about it. I've always emphasized I haven't actually used it, and I'm trying not to knock it. I'm just saying what I read from people whom I basically trust, blogs of people. Blogs I've read for years. They keep complaining this thing is horrible. I cannot use that. So I'm trying to kind of survey and see what different people think about it. I suppose I do tend to listen more to advanced users than sites like Oh My God Ubuntu. Probably won't be reading that much. So the reviews I read tend to be from people who are using the computers as developers or as the hardcore users. I think Canonical is trying to reach out for the average kind of the people we sometimes people like us sometimes make fun of for using the computer in a very simple way, just open the browser and just expecting things to open within a click and opening a. There is this joke going around about Apple users and the fact that they cannot handle more than one button or something like that. Which of course is a joke. It's easier to use in some ways, but if you're a power user and you only have one button in your hand, it might be a bit tricky to do certain things.
I touched on this on the article I wrote about Unity and this power user and the going back to the roots of elite users and average users. For me, certainly, and I do a plethora of tasks on the PC. Some are just your standard run-of-the-mill surfing the web, and some are a little bit more than what the average user would do. But at the end of the day, the last thing I want is for my productivity to be hampered by having to mess around with a desktop. And if Unity or indeed any operating system offers me the facility to get my computer up and running so that all the features that I require are handed on a plate for me, that's got to be a good thing. I often wonder when people mention the word power user, what exactly this power user is doing. If they're developing, code in Python, well, that's already handed on a plate. So, and Unity and any other operating system perfectly accommodates that. So if we eliminate the issue of fiddling around with your desktop to try and get your Compiz working or installing your proprietary graphic drivers or whatever, I can't really see what the issue is with having an operating system that actually works and is presented to you on a plate and allows you to be productive in whichever way you want to do. I can't think of many people, certainly in my experience, wanting to fiddle on with their desktop and get to the nuts and bolts. Usually we're using other applications to do other tasks. It's just my observation. It's horses for courses. But
my experience with usage of desktop actually involves how much you're willing to put into training. When I say training, it's kind of like training an algorithm or training a model. You have to get yourself into a mode of actually working, and then you have to perform work. Now, if you work 9 to 5 or even more, and you only spend 1 hour a day on the computer, like lots of people do, for them to train for 10 hours might mean actually going through 2 weeks of working weeks, and spend some time just learning how to use the system. And for them, just using something that's more like a phone, that's more simplistic, maybe less buttons, maybe just finger sensitive touch, sensitive interface, something of that sort, might be a bit preferable. But for a person like I probably use the computer. I use my computer just about every day, more than 15 hours a day, at least 15 hours a day. So for me, spending 10 hours learning something wouldn't be so much of a investment of time compared to the amount of hours I'll then spend actually using the computer. So so power users, I think they look for things which might take some time to get your head around, But once you master them, they could save you a lot of time. So when I want to launch an application, I don't actually click anything. I don't actually click anything on the screen. I set it up so that all kinds of operations that I do routinely, such as compressing backups and then creating a directory and filing a directory with the backup with the name, all I have to do is just press Control Alt 6, and that